Okay, we live. All right, Lions fans. It is week 6 in the NFL, and then the Lions are on a bye week this week. We thought we would take, I guess you can consider this our mid-season podcast to talk about the first 5 games that the Lions played and where we think they would go from here. As of today, while we're recording this podcast, the Lions are.
Offensive coordinator, lead the
Oh,
league
hold
in
on. Let me.
several
I want to mute that
categories.
sound.
Oh yeah,
Can you
I'm
hear that?
copyright. No, yeah, it's muted now.
It's muted. Okay. All right. Well, it's not muted on my end, but that's fine. Uh, right now we just playing some highlights of the Lions against the Patriots. We were trying to find a little. There we go. We were trying to find a little highlight clip to put in here. Maybe they had like the 5 games going into it, but we'll just roll with this one. All right. So, what are your takes so far, son, on the Lions and what they have done so far this season? Remember, 1-4. What's our takeaways after 5 games?
Uh, Man, I don't know. My main thing I would say is, at first I would say we kind of win the season with a lot of hope because I don't know if it was because of Hard Knocks or because they had a good draft and because of Dan Campbell and stuff, but I think we came into the season with a lot of steam and stuff. Um, and I think basically the Lions have once again realized that they're in this kind of weird rebuilding phase where we kind of see that the defense isn't really as good as we thought it was going to be. The offense, for the most part, was looking a lot better, but even they're inconsistent. So I would say we're kind of seeing the same old Lion stuff. I'm hoping it looks like I'm not saying that the train is off the track, but it's starting to wobble, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. I have to agree with you on that. Now, when you mentioned Hard Knocks, it reminded me of something that Steve Fezzik said. Steve Fezzik is a gambling, Las Vegas gambling pro, and before the season start, he was doing a show doing over unders for every team. And he said that he did not think that the Lions would be good. He said he thought that people were getting hyped up because of Hard Knocks. And these are his words. He said, anytime a team has a bad coach and a bad quarterback, I can't expect them to be good. And I hate to say it, but it's starting to feel like a lot of that is, playing out. It seems like there's been a lot of decisions that's caused games. And granted, I know the team has been injured, but unfortunately, a lot of the people who said that they didn't believe in the Lions this year, the things that they said are starting to seem like they're coming true. I thought we did have a good draft class, but I have to agree with you. The defense is not looking good. We thought that they would be a little more improved, but the defense is
Yeah.
looking bad. Most people have them ranked last in the NFL. Now, let me ask you this. Let's start with the defense. Is this a matter of we need better players, or is Aaron Glenn more to blame for the defense? What's your thoughts?
Um, Personally, I think, like I've been saying for a while, I do think it's a mix of both. But I mean, if we're being honest, when's the last time the Lions have got a star on defense? I mean, someone that is came out of college that like we're like, oh
Right,
yeah, this guy is really going to be him. I guess except for Jeff Okuda, but we were kind of always iffy on him.
right.
So I mean, I think it's mainly the defense. They just don't really have that many defensive players if you really look at their team.
You know, son, I have to agree with you. I'm gonna have to say two player. Well, there are some good Lions over the years on defense, but I'm gonna say the last two guys, and you're gonna see how far apart this is. The last two guys that come to my mind immediately on defense, who we drafted, and we thought, wow, that guy's gonna be a star. I'm gonna go all the way back to '88 when Benny Blades came out of Miami. He was a big, strong safety, big enough to be an outside linebacker. When we got him, it was a lot of buzz around that. And the next guy we got after that was Ndamukong Suh, and that was what, 2011. That's how we
Yeah.
talking. We talking 23, 24 years between getting a defensive player that we thought was going to be a game changer. Was definitely, I'm gonna be honest, Ndamukong Suh would be the last one. Dominic Sue will be the last guy and we took him number 2, who we drafted, and we said, man, that guy is going to be the dude coming out of college. And so I have to
Yeah.
agree with you. That could be that could be a big issue too, because think about all the defensive players that we've missed on: Micah Parsons, Aaron Donald. I want to say that somebody said a little while ago that the Lions could have got even Revis when he came out. To have a
What the real?
shutdown corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. We haven't had like a star on defense. So speaking of defense, let's go each level of the defense and let's see maybe where the problem lies. On the defensive line in this big nickel we play, you have Ricky, Alim in the middle, Brocker is also in the middle, and you have, for the most part, Charles Harris and Aiden Hutchinson at the D ends. Where are our strengths and weaknesses there?
And so if we're talking about the D line, I would say the ends haven't been looking too bad. I've noticed what is it? Austin Bryant and Charles Harris and Austin Bryant come off the edge, don't they?
They do, yes.
Okay, yeah, I would say they haven't been too bad on the edge. I would say a few years ago, I remember we had Haloti Naka. I would say I think we need a guy like that again, a guy that can be a good O2 gapper. Because the run defense is just, I mean, their run defense is like paper. I don't know what's up with their run defense. So I think they need someone that can fill up the holes.
Yeah, I agree with that. The run defense is definitely bad. Now, when you're running a big nickel, which is basically what the Lions run, instead of 3 linebackers, there's 2 linebackers. What do we think about Malcolm Rodriguez and Alex Anzalone?
Oh, I think Malcolm Rodriguez is fine, but I mean, like we've already talked about, I think both of them really struggle in pass coverage. I mean, I
True.
think Anzalone is just okay and I think he needs to be replaced. But I think Rodriguez can be a career linebacker. But I think he's a run support linebacker. He's obviously not a person who's going to be good in pass because he's so short already.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. We did talk about this before. If they're going to play basically 2 linebackers, you have to have at least one of them has to be a pass coverage linebacker, because I did notice, especially in that Patriots game, that the linebackers were getting burned by those tight ends. They couldn't
Yeah.
cover the tight ends and they couldn't cover the running backs coming out of the backfield. Okay, corners. Do we believe that Okuda is finally going to be that guy? And if he is, do we need to draft a number 1 corner? Meaning that Okuda is not a number 1, but a good number 2, or do we believe Okuda will be it can be or can and is a number 1, and we need to get another number 2 to fill in? What's your thoughts on the corners?
I think Okuda is good enough to be the number 1 receiver. I would say he really started showing out this year. He finally started proving who he was supposed to be. I thought Oriore was going to be able to be a good number 2,
Right.
but I don't know if it's his back injury or what's going on with him. So I do think the Lions need I don't know if through the draft or through a trade, but I do think they need to get a good number 2 corner eventually.
Okay. All right. And then the safeties, I do agree with that. Now the safeties, are we happy with Tracy Walker? Unfortunately, he got hurt. He was having a good year, but unfortunately he got hurt. He's done for the season. Do we like Tracy Walker and Deshaun Elliott, or I want your thoughts first before I jump in on it. Or do you think we need something else at safety?
No, I like Deshaun Elliott and Tracy Walker at safety.
You do?
And hopefully that boy Kirby Joseph can develop too.
Yes. What I think the Lions need at safety is, as much as I like those 2 safeties, especially Tracy Walker, I still think that the Lions need a center fielder like Ed Reed was. That's what I believe. I believe that the Lions now that's something I don't remember the Lions having. They need a center field safety who can hawk the ball down when the ball's in the air. I think that quarterbacks are not afraid to throw the ball into the Lions secondary.
Yeah.
So that's the defense. And now looking at these highlights, the Lions on offense. Now I just realized I actually forgot that St. Brown even played in the game. He was not effective.
Yeah, I don't even know why they really tried to play him. He had
Right.
like limited snaps anyways.
Right, he did, because I think he's still hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see Craig Reynolds doing his thing, I mean, every time I look up, Craig Reynolds is, catching or running the ball. So let's talk about the offense. Like, we got to start with Jared Goff. Is Jared Goff the guy, or are the Lions in a situation, if let's say the Lions finish top seven, by I mean top seven pick, if they finish
Yeah.
with a top, it remind me of something Mel Kiper said. Mel Kiper said that if the Lions finish in the middle of the pack, then Jared Goff is their guy. But if the Lions finish in the top 5, 6, 7 again, then they need another quarter. Then they need a quarterback. So with the way the season is looking, Lions look like they're going to be picking top 7 again. Do the Lions go after one of those young quarterbacks, Bryce Drew, C.J. Stroud, Levis, the kid from Kentucky, or one of these other guys, or do we believe that Jared Goff can man the ship?
Man, so I don't even know if Jared Goff is the guy to man the ship, but I do know is that I don't think it's a very smart decision to go out and go get a quarterback. I mean, the guy that they think is going to win the Heisman, C.J. Stroud, I think he's from Ohio State.
Yeah, right.
People talk about it, and they're right. Ohio State doesn't produce good quarterbacks. I
True.
mean, I was thinking, what quarterback from Ohio State is starting in the NFL right now? I don't think there is a single one. The only quarterback I know is J.T. Barrett, and I'm pretty sure he moved to receiver or something weird.
Yeah,
But
Justin Fields is starting for the Bears, but he's not looking good.
exactly, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, in that game Thursday, I happened to catch. I saw like the last 5 or 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. It was a terrible game. The Commanders won 12-7, but Justin Fields did have a crazy run to pretty much put the Bears in position to win. I mean, it was a crazy run. He scrambled like 35 yards or so, but honestly, just the highlights of him, the people who really watch the Bears, they say that he has bad decision making. So
Yeah,
I agree with you. Ohio State, as good as athletes as they have, as the speed they bring in, they still have not ever produced really a good quarterback. So
yeah,
so I don't know. That's I don't know. I mean, there's not a free agent out there we can get that's better than Jared Goff. I mean, we're not gonna pick up what's the kid in Carolina now? Mayfield. We're not
oh
gonna we're
no,
not gonna pick up Baker Mayfield. I don't really see the reason, to do that. He's not looking good. So you're not gonna really get a free agent quarterback better than Jared Goff. And I really don't see a quarterback better than Jared Goff in the draft. The only thing I can think of is that you take like a Will Levis out of Kentucky, who probably could fit in good with the Lions, and you I don't know, you bring Jared Goff back on like a 1-year deal next year and let Will Levis sit behind him. But then now we're talking about us start him playing in 2024, and we're back to the drawing board, where this year was supposed to be
yeah,
the year that we stepped up. Uh,
yeah.
running backs, running backs. Oh, did you have anything else on quarterbacks?
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say anything else. I was just gonna say we kind of talked about this where we had a feeling the Lions are gonna be in this weird spot, depending on how like Jared Goff performed this year.
Okay, right. So running backs, Deandre Swift. We love Deandre Swift, but this is his third year, and this is the third year that he has gotten hurt and has missed significant games. Do we need to look at another running back, not to necessarily replace DeAndre Swift, but another dog that can come out of the backfield? So if he's hurt, this quarterback can step up. Do we need to look at something like that in the draft or free agency?
I don't know if it's the number one priority, but I
Hmm.
think that if there was a gem, like some didn't Kenneth Walker go in the third round last year?
Second round this year.
Uh, well, if there is somebody like him that can slip to
Hmm.
like the mid rounds or something, then I do think it'd be worth it to take a running back just because DeAndre Swift has some pretty serious injury problems.
He does. I almost feel ashamed to ask this, but because this guy has been a little injured the last couple of years, but there's a report out there that the Carolina Panthers have said that they are willing to trade Christian McCaffrey, a running back who comes out of the backfield, who's a good running back out of the backfield, but he also receives out of the backfield. Do do the Lions dare even think about going after somebody like that? If you could get him for not much, or are you basically trading for another DeAndre Swift? What I mean by that is a guy who could get injured.
Yeah, I would say I don't know. I feel like Man, but when Christian McCaffrey's there, he's there. But man,
Right.
but I think you are basically trading for another Deandre Swift though.
Correct.
And
Okay.
I feel like the Panthers would almost want Deandre Swift.
Yeah, I think you could probably get McCaffrey for a draft pick. That's what I'm thinking, to be honest. But we're good we're good there. Let's talk. Okay, so let's move on to the receivers. I'm in Ron St. Brown, DJ Chark, eventually Jamison Williams. What do we think about the receivers?
Oh, I think they're good at receiver. I don't
Okay,
know so much. I think Josh Reynolds is quite a bit better than DJ Chark. I don't know what DJ Chark has been doing,
I agree.
but I think they'll be fine at receiver, especially
Okay,
when Jamison Williams comes back too.
right. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see him play. Now,
Yeah,
what about tight end Hawkinson? We good with Hawkinson?
yeah, I think they're fine with Hawkinson as well.
Okay, and then
He's having
last
a
on
really,
offense,
really
the O
solid.
line. If we can actually get all five of them on the field at the same time, they people are still saying the Lions have a top five offensive line, but they all have to play. You know,
Yeah,
Jonah Jackson has been hurt, and Big V he's also been out and hurt as well. So they've been kind of patching together the O line. So I think we might be okay on the O line. What about what you think?
no, I agree with that. I mean, for the most part, I think the offense is straight, except for this Patriots game. I don't really understand what happened.
Yo, I don't either. So let's get ready to so as we start to wrap it up, let's talk about the fact that when you talk about the offense I thought looked great against Washington. I mean, we had everybody in there though. I thought the offense looked great. Do you think it's a matter of the fact that Jared Goff in the last couple of weeks, he has not had his starting running back. He has not had his starting two wide receivers, and he's missing two guards, even though the replacements did decent on the offensive line. Do you think that's what the issue is?
Oh, I definitely think that has an effect on it. I mean, he was playing with practice squad receivers, literally.
Right.
I mean, it was Tom Kennedy, Quintez Cephas, and I don't even know who the other receiver was.
Yeah, I
But
don't know. I mean, Khalif Raymond got in there sometimes. I mean, yeah, I have to agree. I think that if they can come back strong at full strength, maybe we'll see that offense we saw in week two. And the defense, is there any hope that the defense is going to get better?
I mean, I thought the hope was against the Patriots. If you really look at it, I mean, they really didn't allow that many points. I mean, they allowed 13. Or I mean, I get it at the end of the game, they allowed 29. But that's
Right.
kind of what happens when your offense doesn't put any points on the board. Your defense is
True.
going to start getting worn down.
Right.
So,
And not to mention, 7 of those points, like we just saw in the highlight that went across the screen, was from a fumble return. So
yeah.
that's 7. If you take that off, that's 22 points. You know, and I agree. The offense did not. Bill Belichick had it cooked up. The offense could not stay on the field, and the Patriots' all defense was fresh, which is why I think they could pass rush the way they could, because we just did not wear down we just didn't wear them down. Our
Yeah.
offense wasn't on the field enough to wear their defense down. And not to mention on the defense, not making excuses, but I want to say the Lions had another 5 injuries in that game. Savion went out basically right at the beginning of the game. Deshaun Elliott went out. Amani didn't play. Somebody else got hurt too that I'm forgetting on the
I mean,
defense.
it's almost hilarious how badly the Lions players. I mean, there was, I thought there was 3 injuries on one drive on defense. Like
Right.
I
Yeah.
didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. It seemed like they were just getting injured in the end. I agree. So that's where we are there. So let's look at the schedule for the rest of the season, and let's look at from what we've seen. We're 1-4. Let's look at what we think is going to happen. Next week, the Lions are back, hopefully full strength at Dallas. What are you thinking?
Jeez, so Cooper Rush has not lost yet, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think the offense will be back, but I'm gonna have to say they're gonna lose a shootout to Dallas. Probably, I think they're gonna lose 31-29 just because that QB's been so hot.
He has been. Week after that, home against Miami.
Oh,
Miami lost to Minnesota today. They did not look that good. Their offense did not look electric, especially with 2-9 in the game. And I don't know if let's just assume 2 is back in 2 weeks.
yeah. It's hard because the one problem with the Lions is they're so inconsistent. So it's hard for me to like give them these straight up wins and these straight up losses. But
True.
No, I'm gonna have to say the Dolphins is a loss too, just because their offense is so good. I mean, we just have to see if the Lions defense can step up because it's hard for me to
Right.
say that Tyreek and Jalen Waddle won't cook them.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so that puts us at 6 losses. The week after that would be November the 6th, home against Green Bay. Green Bay lost to the Jets today. Green Bay is also not looking good,
Yeah,
but
I'll give
they
them the
do
win.
still have Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers has tormented the Lions. So what do we think? At home against Green Bay.
No, I'll give them the win against Green Bay, just because I think they got to right the ship up eventually
I do. I
after those
agree.
two hard games.
Okay, so this could be where we have the turnaround. So okay, so now that puts us at 2-6. November 13th at Chicago.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them the win.
Okay, 3-6. Me too. I cannot see them losing to the Bears.
Yeah, I hope not.
I can see it, but I can't see it if that makes sense. Okay, so that puts us at 3-6. November the 20th at New York Giants. The Giants just beat the Ravens today. The Giants are actually 5-1, not 1-5 like we thought they would be.
I'm still gonna give them a win on that. That's still the Giants. That is crazy that they're good though.
I know. Okay, so if we get them that win in New York, that's 4-6. Then 4 days later, Thanksgiving, home against Buffalo.
Yeah, that's a
That's
loss.
a loss. Yep, 4-7. We both agree on that. So that's now they're 4-7. December 4th, home against Jacksonville.
uh,
Jacksonville, who's actually playing better than we think. So we have the Lions now at what, 4-7. Do we give them a win at home against Jacksonville? Jacksonville lately has not been able to score a lot of points,
man,
but
I don't know
it's
how much
tough.
of
And Trevor Lawrence does move with his legs. So do we give him the win?
that's
That's a tough
man.
one.
I'm gonna say that one's a loss, just
Okay,
because the Lions, like we always talk about, that's their biggest weakness. If the quarterback can run, then that really kills them.
it does. Okay, so that puts them at 4-7. December 11th, home against Minnesota.
I'll give them the win.
Okay, so that's 5-7. December 18th at the Jets. Jets won today, by the way. Jets beat the Packers today.
Yeah, they smoked them. Jeez,
Yeah. Robert Saleh has them boys playing.
man. Hopefully our boy Jameson Williams is back so we can go against Sauce Gardner. But I'm gonna give the Lions a win, man. That's still the Jets.
Okay,
And the
so what's that?
NFL,
6-8? Yeah, that's 6-8. That's 14 games. So we have them at 6-8 at Carolina on Christmas Eve. I got that as a win.
yeah, me too. Because Baker Mayfield's been doing
Seven and
garbage.
eight. Yeah, 7-8. New Year's Day, home against Chicago.
Uh,
8-8 if they win. I think that's a winnable game, home against Chicago.
yeah, me too.
All right, last game of the season at Green Bay, the January 8th. Probably,
Yeah.
yeah. That game is probably going to be for the division, either the Vikings or the Packers. Probably.
Oh, so that way is the Lions at home for the last game then?
No, at Green Bay.
I'll give them a loss just because I
Okay.
always have
So
for the
we have them
Packers.
going 8-9. 8-9 to me would be a successful season this year. 8-9 would actually probably put them in the run-in for the division because well, I shouldn't say that because the Vikings won today. The Packers lost, but the Vikings won. So what I think is that 8-9, in my opinion, won't get them in the playoffs, but 8-9, in my opinion, will absolutely, 8-9, in my opinion, will absolutely be an improvement. So we're talking
Yeah, and
about
keep
them
some
winning
hope.
7 of the last 12 games. If
Yeah.
that's even possible. 7 of the last 12 games. So Lions fans, you got to let us know what you think. We just want to give some midseason thoughts on where we thought the Lions stand and where we thought they can go from here. Oh, last thing before we go. Do you think that the Lions are not the Lions, I'm sorry. Do you think that Dan Campbell is in over his head? I know this is only his second year. He's only had 1 year and 5 games of his second year. Do you think he's in over his head, or do you think maybe he can right the ship?
Man, I got faith in Dan Campbell. I'm gonna have to say he can right the ship. man,
Okay.
because he's came here with so much gusto and stuff. So, in my opinion, if it's not him, then who? I don't know who else can do it for the Lions if it's not
Right.
him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree. Some people, Lions fans, are upset saying he's just a motivational speaker. He's not really a good strategic coach. But I agree with you. I mean, who else you gonna bring in right now? I think we got to roll with Campbell. They play hard for him, and let's just see what happens from here. So, well,
Yeah.
any last thoughts?
No, I got nothing else till next Sunday. That's when they
All right.
finally play.
Next Sunday, maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised and they'll roll into Dallas and get Cooper Rush his first loss of the season. Well,
Yeah.
Lion fans, that's all we got. If like, comment, subscribe, let us know what you think. Other than that, we holler at y'all later. Peace.
Peace.